Hello, hello, welcome. Excited you guys are here with me today. But today we're going to talk about judgment and how judgment can kind of mess up your flow. Can really, really mess up your flow when it comes to manifesting the things that you want in your life. So we're going to talk about that and what that means when it comes to us really manifesting and getting the things that we want in our life. Because I will tell you, guilty as charged when it comes to judgment. And I'm going to break it down into a couple of different areas so you can understand what I mean when I talk about judgment, when I say kind of how judgment can affect you. So, really, when I talk about judgment, I'm going to start with me. You guys can deal with your own selves accordingly, but I like to come from talking about what I do in my own experience, and you can relate it to yourself. But for me, it's about how I've judged other people. And when I mean judging other people, for example, if you see somebody, let's say, with yellow hair, and I'd be like, ooh, why has she got yellow hair? That's a judgment. When you say, I don't think yellow hair is going to look right on me, that's you talking about you. There's a difference. There's a total difference between judging somebody else and saying what's right for you. When you say something, whether it's right or wrong for you, that's totally fine because you're in control of you. But when you're kind of telling somebody else what they should do, that's judgment. Now, if you have children, you know I'm not talking about that. Okay? Totally not talking about those that you were sort of controlling and molding and trying to give value to. Not talking about them, but I'm talking about outside of that. And I tell you, I'm totally guilty of that. I've totally judged other people before. And when I'm in other people's business, I'm blocking my flow because I'm not in alignment to where I want to go. And I'm not in alignment to my goals. I'm too busy focusing in on their business. So when you're doing that kind of judgment, it blocks us. And we all can see that because we're grown-ups, right? That's the easy judgment. So I got rid of that one first because that's the one we know, and people say don't judge, and most religions out there say don't judge and all of that kind of stuff. So that's the easy judgment. Let's get into the other kind of judgment that's a bit harder. And I've had parts of my life where those other pieces of judgment were hard for me to shake. And I'm going to share that with you tonight, about those other pieces that were a bit more challenging for me. So one of the judgments is the judgment that we get from other people. Like if you were that girl that I talked about with the yellow hair and someone came up to you and said, you know what, your hair is too ugly. You shouldn't be wearing that kind of hair. You're too old for that. You're too this for that. You're too that, fat, whatever, skinny, tall. Doesn't even matter really what they think, but they're giving you their opinion. And when you receive that kind of judgment from other people, it can absolutely hurt. And what people don't understand is that that can do some damage and leave some wounds for you. So I want to spend some time on that. Because if you're like me, I'd like to hear just yeses or thumbs up if you've ever experienced that judgment and it's hurt you. If you've experienced judgment from other people when you felt like it wasn't really deserved and it really hurt you at your core, because I've felt that many times in my life. Especially growing up, we get that a lot of people telling us don't do this, don't do that. But as we get older, unfortunately, even though we have other adults around us, the judgment doesn't stop. Everyone doesn't have wisdom and everyone doesn't use their wisdom all the time. So we get a lot of people judging us. And for me, I will give you an example of that, of probably trying to think about in years terms, but in the last few years, let's say that, let's just frame it that way because I don't want to insult anybody too much or whatever, but let's say in the last several years. So in the last several years, the biggest judgment I've gotten is from being a parent and people not agreeing with my parenting style. Yeah, you're getting me, right? And if you guys notice on my personal page, on everything I do, I don't really talk about parenting. And I do that for a reason, because I don't really want to hear everybody's opinion about it. If I haven't called you and asked for your 2 cents, I probably don't want to hear it. That's my honest opinion about that. I got to, if I'm asking you guys to be honest, I got to be honest with you. So, parenting is one of those things that I have felt such judgment from society, from people that, our family, from just everybody around me of critiquing me all the time about what I do with my children, how I do it. They think I should do it different. They think it should be this way. They think it should be that way. Or basically, actually it would be nice if they gave more solutions, but most of the time what they're giving me is don't do that. And then when you ask them what to do, they don't have an answer for you. So you're not really being helpful. You're just being judgmental and telling me that I shouldn't. Yeah, you're getting me, right? So for me, that has been a judgment that I've gotten. And some of that has been, like I said, the people around me, but it's society. So when you live in a world that's telling you you should do certain things, and other parents are doing it this way, and you should do it this way too, it definitely impacts your thinking. And for me, for a couple of years, it would have me question what I was doing. Was I doing parenting right? Well, should I do what society says? Should I do what these other people are telling me not to do? They weren't telling me what to do. They were just telling me what not to do. So it would leave me with no solution and still leave me with a problem that I was having. And so I was taking that information in, and it was making me weaker because I was doubting myself, and I was doubting my intuition. I was doubting the guidance that I was getting from the divine or from God. I was doubting all of that. And I was listening to all this yah stuff, chatter, whatever you want to call it, stuff. And I wasn't listening to my gifts, my talents, and the direct connection that I have with the Creator, because I was too busy thinking, well, maybe they're right. Maybe there's something wrong with me because I keep doing this different and other people aren't doing it. So maybe they've got something. And what I've learned over these years, and I'm not a parent for a long period of time, so, I'm not an expert. And have I made mistakes? Absolutely. And will I continue to make mistakes? Absolutely. That's my guarantee as a parent, that I will absolutely make mistakes. There's no question about it. Anything else I can't guarantee you, but that I can guarantee you. And so I've learned not to listen to those people so much, but to listen to the divine. And when I'm in alignment with who I am and what I think I should do, things always worked out better. They always worked out better. So my new philosophy, thank you, Monique. My new philosophy is just to let the rest of them go. I do have people that I trust and that I ask for help, because I'm a big component of that. I told you guys that last week. Courage, takes that you've got to ask for help. So I'm constantly asking for help because I know I don't have all the answers. But I'm very clear about judgment versus asking for help, support versus judgment, because those are totally different things. And they come from different parts. Judgment comes from a place of lack. Because when I judged other people, I lacked self-confidence in myself. I was insecure about myself. So judgment comes from that place. Support comes from your heart. How can I make this situation better? How can I help this person because they're in pain, because they're having conflict? How do I help them resolve that conflict? Judgment doesn't feel like that. Judgment feels superiority and I know best and all this other nonsense. That's what judgment comes from. We want to move away from that, because we know that to really manifest, to get the things we want, the goals we want, all of those things, we've got to be in our heart. We've got to be aligned with the Creator, the divine. We absolutely do. If we really want those things in our life, we have to listen to divine guidance, because that's the ultimate wisdom. God knows better than anybody else. That's just bottom line. So that piece of judgment, I want you guys to be really clear about letting that part go, letting go of the wounds that other people have given you because of their judgment. So I left the best part of judgment for last, which is the hardest piece of judgment. That's the judgment of ourselves. That's the one that most of us do on some form or some fashion or some part of our life, right? We judge ourselves. We don't feel enough. We don't feel we're good enough, we're small enough, we're perfect shape enough, we're wise enough, I don't know, fill in the blanket, whatever. We all have those things that we feel like we're not enough of. and we're not good enough. Look at this person. They did this. And if you were like this, you would do this too. And you'd be able to get better, and you'd be able to have this car, and you'd be able to have this house if you did this right. And blah. And we just go on and beat ourselves up. And if you find yourself going, duh, stupid, oh yeah, I should have figured that out. You shouldn't do that, because you're judging yourself and you're putting yourself down. And you don't want to put yourself down, because when we're in that vein of confirming that we're less than or we're not good enough, we're not in the space to get what we want, because you've just moved out of alignment. Because here you said, here's my goal that I want, whether it's a new business, new car, new house, more money in my life, whatever that is for you. When you start to say, oh, duh, stupid, oh yeah, you should have known better, you've just moved further away. Here's your goal over here, and you've just went way over here, because you're not in the right thinking. You're not in the right feeling place to get to your goal. You're not in the right place. So you really have to watch how you judge yourself. Because like we talked about earlier, there's outside people that will judge you, all of this stuff, family, society will come. But a lot of times the loudest voice that's judging us is ourselves. And we have to move away from that. We have to move away from being the biggest person that's judging us, because it's not helping. And people may say, oh, I say that to myself so I can motivate myself. No. Don't motivate yourself by being mean, by disrespecting yourself. If someone you walked up to, and whatever the opposite sex, whoever you're attracted to, right? Girl, boy, doesn't matter. But if someone walked up to you and said, duh, stupid, let me be very clear. We all know good and well that we wouldn't really tolerate that person in our life. We would dismiss them, not want anything else to do with them in our life. We would be like, bye. We would not encourage them to please stay around, please keep talking to me that way. We just wouldn't. But we allow ourselves to do that. And I want you guys really to know that it's not a small deal. Because if you know, like I know, when you're trying to get to something bigger, whether that's a bigger dream for your business, a bigger dream for your life, a bigger career, bigger house, whatever that is for you, when you're trying to get to something bigger, you don't need to be talking yourself into being smaller. Because that's what you're doing. You have this big dream, big goal over here, and you wind up talking to yourself and making yourself feel small. So you've just moved yourself further away from what you want. So that's my tidbit for today, is to don't let judgment stop you from being in flow of what you want. When you talk down to yourself, when you judge yourself, when you make yourself feel small, you are moving yourself further and further away from your dream, from what you want to manifest. So you need to stop, because you deserve better. Every week, I'm going to say that always, always, always. Because no matter where you are in your life, you deserve better. It's just that simple. You're an amazing, special being that deserves better. So stop the judgment. When you catch yourself judging other people, stop. Apologize. You don't have to physically go up to the person if they didn't hear you, obviously make the judgment. But apologize. Send that energy out to the universe, just like we pray. Send that energy out to the universe in an apology. And then correct yourself and say, oh, what's going on with me? Why am I feeling so insecure right now that I have to put somebody else down in order for me to feel better? Check yourself. Seriously, check yourself. Because that's what really needs to happen at that stage of the game, so that you don't keep doing it over and over again. You deserve more. You totally do. You deserve for people not to give you their judgments and their negativity, and you deserve not to give it out to other people, so then later on you don't feel guilty or you don't feel bad about it. You deserve more. Guys, have an awesome, awesome week.